Okay, so in this video I'm going to answer a question. This comment is from a subscriber and she says, CJ, I need urgent wisdom please. How would you think about your boss who's being dismissive, non-responsive because you spoke to him in a manner that sounded like you were their boss? Even though that wasn't your intention at all, you were just being your friendly, confident self with them, but since most bosses expect some kind of special treatment, they misunderstood your confidence for impudence. Anyways, now I don't know what should my assumption mindset need to be to turn the situation around. I can't certainly think that he's my servant because he's my servant, he's my puppet, since I'm the god of my reality, right? Because people sense you telepathically, and the type of dialogue can actually backfire, isn't it? Or maybe I'm wrong. Well, in a way, yes. Please, can you help me? I have a very important meeting coming up at work next week, for which I need my boss to come in alignment for it to be a success. So knowing how we must conduct ourselves energetically, what assumptions we must hold in such scenarios would really help with people who have a higher ranking than yours or have an upper hand over you because of whatever, material success, societal position, etc. And so you're expected to lie low and play the ego game with them. I really need to understand this. Okay, so in this question, there are some, like it's obvious, the assumptions that you have, that she has about all of this. So first of all, you're labeling your boss, which in your case is a specific person, not a romantic specific person, but it's a specific person. Specific person means you know what person you're talking about, so it's specific for you. So you label your boss as dismissive and non-responsive, and you think that he's like that because you talked to him in a certain way. Well, he didn't show up being dismissive and unresponsive because you spoke to him with confidence or friendly attitude. He's like that because you assume that they have a higher ranking than yours. They are above you. They have the upper hand over you. Well, in your reality, no one has the upper hand over you. So when you imagine yourself as being the employee and being lower than someone, and when I'm saying employee, I'm not only saying you're imagining yourself to be the employee in a business. You're imagining yourself to be an employee of your life. So this is a concept, this is an attitude, this is an identity. And you imagine yourself to be the employee, of course, that you must experience this attitude that you claim you are. So when you are an employee, the 3D will provide you with people that would be above you. Now, even if it's social, romantic, etc., etc. So basically, how to call it is that when you imagine yourself to be the employee, you're going to be disrespected, you're going to be treated bad because you imagine yourself lower. You imagine yourself at the mercy of someone else, at the mercy of someone else's decision. But what you're actually unaware and what you're blind to is the fact that it's all your creation. So you're playing the role of an employee. You provide yourself with someone that can boss you around. Therefore, it's only you doing it to yourself. Now, what triggered me in this question and what triggered my attention in this question is the fact that you say people sense you telepathically. And what type of inner dialogue can actually backfire? So what you're saying is that you think that somehow your boss will feel the idea that you're making them inferior in your mind and is going to backfire. Well, I don't agree with telepathy, because if you're the only thinker and other people don't have a consciousness outside of yours, you wouldn't actually have inner dialogues with a person, a sentient consciousness outside of you. So you're not having an inner dialogue with an awareness that is conscious of self and can take their own decisions. So if you say your boss can sense you telepathically and it can backfire, that's what it's going to be, because you are afraid that you're sending out the wrong thoughts. So what should you do in this case? So first of all, you have a lot of assumptions that make you not step in the power of really being God, and you really don't understand what being God is all about. Being God means you're the only consciousness, you're the only thinker that is in your reality, in your world. Everything and everyone that you observe are at the mercy, I would say, under the spell, under your spell. So whatever you assume about them will be so. Now, you're talking a lot about feelings. Well, feeling is not required. What you do is you start understanding that I'm creating my boss to boss me around. I'm creating this situation to enslave me. So what I do is I understand I'm the one creating it. So I stop selling myself short. I stop viewing myself low. Now, action in the 3D is not required. You're taking action in the 3D. You think you are presenting yourself in your 3D as the new self, which is confident and friendly, but when you get a different response, you quickly go back in your cave and you say, no, I'm not this confident person. He still is above me. Well, he's not above you. He is just above you because you put him to be above you, because you played the role of an employee. And I'm not talking the 3D employee, I'm talking your mindset of the employee, the mindset of the servant. You can't view him as your puppet and as your servant, but he actually is. So when I say they are your servant, it means they serve you, your purpose. They serve their purpose, which is to be an actor in your movie. They are an actor in your movie. So based on the script that you give them, they can only go by that script. They cannot be original and invent a script of their own. So first of all, just because you attributed someone a role in your 3D, it doesn't mean that they were not under your command, that they were not under your assumption. You are calling them dismissive as if that is their personality. So you're unaware of the things that you're doing upon yourself before calling someone, before drawing a conclusion. All of you guys, just take a step back and say, is this conclusion going to bring me a nice consequence? Are the consequences of my assumptions going to be in my favor or against me? So you can't go around in your world calling anyone dismissive or narcissistic or abusive or toxic or jealous or I don't know what, and expect them to behave other than the way you label them. They are going to behave the way you label them. If you label yourself as someone that is inferior, as someone that is powerless, weak, soft, unappreciated, unloved, disrespected, well, you are going to manifest people in your reality treating you based on what you've assumed yourself to be. So you change the image of yourself. You start understanding that I'm creating this. If I continue doing this, these are the results that I'm going to have. And if you don't like the results you're going to have, you change yourself and you stop entertaining the assumptions, the bad assumptions that you had about yourself. Whether you like it or not, they are under your control. Whether you like it or not, people are. So you start understanding I'm creating all this. Just because there are people in my 3D reality showing me that they play the role of a boss, they play the role of a boyfriend, they play the role of a teacher, they play the role of a friend, they play the role of a mother, they play the role of a father, or whatever role you gave them in your imagination is just a role. Now, just because you made them play that role, it doesn't mean that at their core they are better than you, above you, or superior, or that they have the upper hand to decide your life's experiences. They never had the free will. That's what free will means. They don't have the power to decide. Now, you think they do because it's your assumption. You're creating the illusion that they do. You're creating the illusion that they're superior. You're creating the illusion that they're above you and they have the upper hand. You're creating the illusion that they can fire you or let you without your job or punish you or judge you or whatever power you've given to these people. But it's your doing. You're the only one doing. Nothing and no one is doing anything in your reality. You're the only one doing it to yourself. So unless you are going to revise yourself, because when you're actually revising, you're revising yourself. In revising yourself means you start giving yourself a different role. You stop, like, I created you. Of course that it's not a matter of you being superior or above me or having the upper hand. And most of you are also doing this with your specific person. You think that because you want them, they have the upper hand and they are able to give you permission whether the relationship is going to happen or not. So you're allowing your SP, your boss, to give you permission whether you're going to keep your job or not. But you don't need any permission. You're God. You created your boss. You put your boss there. Your boss is there just because you imagined yourself having a job. You understand? He doesn't exist on its own accordance. He doesn't exist on its own existence, on its own consciousness. He's there because you imagine him there. Okay? And he's behaving that way because you imagine him behaving a certain way. Bosses are like this. Bosses are like that. All kind of assumptions, all kind of general assumptions. But bosses are not like this. Bosses are not like that. You think they are like that. That's why they are like that. So it goes back to the same two fundamentals. Know yourself, that you are source, and be aware of what you describe people, because they have no free will but to be as you describe them. So quit the bullshit of someone is superior or above you and that they have the upper hand in your life. No one has the upper hand in your life, only you do. That's why it's called your life. Okay? So that's it. I'll be answering more questions from now on. So make sure you post your question, and don't ask me about appearance or bullshit like that. I did a video about appearance. I don't think it needs an entire video. For all of you that want to manifest appearance, just decide you look a certain way and your body has to catch up with your decision. That's it. There's nothing there. That's it. You want to be taller, say you're taller. You want to be green eyes, say you have green eyes. That's it. That's it. Ignore what you see in the mirror. Don't go in the mirror every 3 seconds and say, are my eyes green yet? It means that you literally mock your power of decision. You literally mock your power when you're doing it. So don't do it. Okay, that's how you manifest appearance. See? 2 videos in one. Okay, that's all for today. Bye-bye.